Hello world, welcome to my grumpy angry rant about the state of Champions Online. In fact, I'm so grumpy about it that I'm going to use footage from Skyrim in the background. So in 7 years, Champions Online still has the same problem, is that there's no vision and no direction. The game keeps getting passed around to different developer teams and they just keep adding whatever cool shit they think would be fun at the time. They don't actually make things that would highlight the biggest features of this game, which is customization. You don't see the Nemesis system getting updated. Even though this is a game about superheroes, and I honestly can't think of any other games where you get to make your own Nemesis. You get to make your own villain. That's pretty cool, and yet we don't see that getting expanded upon. We just get all of this, we're getting all these stupid shoving freeforms into the role system, which is kind of crazy and doesn't fit with this game. Raids and dungeons work because those games tend to be class-based. You really can't do the same thing in a game like Champions Online, which is about customization, without taking away some of that customization. And you already see it happening. I mean, the game does not have very good balance with the powers. You really think you're going to tank like an Uber boss with personal protection field without having like a couple babysitters propping your character up? I don't think so. I mean, apparently even regen is not good enough anymore. So that's like 2 passives right there that are for tanking, that are kind of garbage for endgame content that we've been getting. And what about poor dodge? I mean, if you have a buff that takes down your dodge and you made a dodge character, chances are you're screwed. And another thing is, dodge characters kind of need to keep attacking to keep their dodge buffs up. And if they don't keep their dodge buffs up, they're going to get one-shot. So you can't really tank with that now either. So that leaves 3 of our tank roles that aren't good enough for this content, because the game really doesn't have balance and they're putting in content that isn't appropriate for this kind of game. Another thing that's been bugging the crap out of me is the quality of the content has actually been going down quite a bit. I mean, when we get new power updates, tooltips are always messed up. Now, I don't really have a problem with copying and pasting, but frankly, if you're going to screw up basic bullshit like the tooltips being correct, that's awful, and that's what we get every update. I am not a beta tester. I am not paid to do quality assurance for Cryptic. I do not want to have to test every single brand new power just to make sure it actually works the way it's supposed to. So, what about Slash? Does that still have Reaper's Crest tooltip? I'm betting it does, and I bet it didn't get fixed. Should we be surprised? Another thing is the overemphasis on the Supernatural set. And then we also have the Supernatural set has 3 energy unlocks between the 2 sets. And those energy unlocks, the 2 new ones, not necessarily pigeonholed within the Supernatural framework. But yet we have Might, doesn't have its own energy unlock. Earth, doesn't have its own energy unlock. Force, nope, doesn't have one either. But yet we have the Supernatural set getting so much attention. It's literally every other powers update. The mob update was terrible. It wasn't even an AI update. It was just adding a bunch of new powers with no conditions that end up just being monster dumped on you at the beginning of the battle. It's not fun. It's actually boring. Battle starts, monster dump, wait for shit to go off cooldown, monster dump all your attacks of anyone that's still alive. There's no tactics, there's no thought, it's just block and be bored. This isn't a game of chess where even if you're not moving at the time, when you're waiting for your opponent, you can think about, well, if he does this, I can do that, and whatever. I mean, it's not even like Dark Souls, when even if you're not actively attacking, you're probably actively blocking, or you could parry. You could look for that opening to parry an attack. You could look for an opening to exploit in your enemies. There's none of that in Champions Online, and honestly, I don't even think the game engine could handle that kind of thing. So now the enemies, they have more attacks, they dump them all in at you at the beginning of the fight, and it's now super irritating. Speaking of super irritating, the gravity effect that was added to all over the place, really. It's a bugged pile of shit. Ever since that update went into effect, my ranged character that doesn't even use a travel power when he's attacking half the time takes bonus fall damage when he gets knocked. So in addition to the 1,000 points of fall damage that he takes just for getting knocked, he often takes another 3,000 to 5,000 additional points of fall damage just because he got knocked by an enemy. And enemies have really awful knock abilities. They are one of the things that have been irritating people since the game came out. So the developer, which I'm pretty sure is only Kaiserin, decided to add this effect, and it's not even added in with any kind of finesse, it's just dumped in there, and which is another problem. I'm pretty sure the gravity effect was supposed to be to prevent vehicles and sniper characters from going the entire zone. Let me tell you, my vehicle is nowhere near as powerful as my strongest character. Not even close. And it's not exactly, terribly decked out. I do have good powers. I do have the standard mods that are basically the best ones to get. And the only thing I could do is upgrade it is put them at rank 9 instead of rank 6. If someone wants to take a sniper character through the dailies, more power to them, because that shit would take forever. I guarantee you that I could probably go through the zone faster with my main character as my character than I could with a vehicle or than a sniper character could. So you know what? Who really cares if those people are flying out of mob AI range? I mean, mob AI is stupid. It's always going to be stupid. Who cares? Let people do creative things to go through the zone. Let them exploit the shitty AI, because it's still shitty and it ain't getting any better. 7 years later, and Cryptic as a whole has not learned anything about level design. I mean, they haven't even learned the basic. You don't put your brand new person with 0 level design experience in charge of level design. Like, I don't even know why I have to complain about this. This game has been out for 7 years. This is not a bunch of high school kids making a mod for Skyrim or Fallout. This is a professional product where someone is getting paid to make this stuff. They're getting paid to deliver an experience to their players so that hopefully their players spend money. I mean, if you have bad level design, people are going to figure this out. They may not understand what's wrong with the level. They may not understand, like, the design principles that would have made the level better, but they will go in and be like, oh, this kind of sucks. They're going to know. They're going to feel it when they play it. They're going to be disappointed. They're going to be like, wow, why is this zone not fun? Why isn't this zone better? It just blows my mind that they would even think to put someone who has no design experience in charge of level design. And just, like, kind of leave them out to dry. Like, hey, have fun with that. Good luck. We're not going to actually teach you anything, though. The economy in the game has kind of gone to shit. Think about how many things are worth selling that are found in the lockbox. I mean, when we get new things, they're almost always added to a lockbox. The entire mod fusion system was made practically worthless because 5, 6, and 7 mods are so plentiful from lockboxes. I mean, we even have new powers are in lockboxes. It's just too much. But we don't have anything that's really worth farming for. And honestly, trying to farm for stuff is so much grindier than it used to be. Someone that's storing their wallet at the screen to pay for basically anything they could want in globals isn't really playing the game. They're not spending time doing content and anything. And, like, why would they want to? Farming for things kind of sucks. I don't understand why they didn't really think ahead with the in-game economy. So there's 2 things that make this game pretty anti-alt. And 1, the focus on extra grind. And 2, things being character bound instead of account bound. If I only have 1 character, do I care if anything is character bound or account bound? No. It won't. It literally does not affect me at all because I only have 1 character. Now think about the people who have, like, a whole bunch of alts. They're not being rewarded for having alts because they can't pool their resources. I mean, the game is grindier, so it takes longer to gear up new characters, which is tedious and boring. New content is very heavily not just team-based, but role-based. And if everything is character bound, there's no incentive for me to, swap out characters for the role that's needed. If I just like the idea of being able to switch up characters whenever I want to, but still being able to make a progress on a single character, well, I can't do that anymore either. So basically, the things that they're adding to the game are hurting the people that are most invested in the game. Anyone that has more than 2 character slots, those slots were purchased with money. Anyone that has a freeform slot, that slot was purchased with money. Even if I grind up a bunch of quests tonight and switch it for Zen, someone had to pay for that Zen with real money. So I may not have spent money myself, but someone else did on my behalf, basically. If there's not much incentive to have more characters because it's grindy or because I can't pool my resources, then there's not much incentive for me to spend money either, or for anyone else to spend money. And I don't understand why Cryptic would think this was a good idea. I mean, do you think it's fun if I want to gear up my DPS character, but I have to wait for a crowd controller to do content? That's not fun. Nobody likes playing crowd controllers, so I don't see very many of them. If I have to wait an hour, I'm not really playing the game, and I'm probably going to get bored, and the next time that someone says, hey, let's do a cosmic fight, I might just say, screw that. I don't want to sit around for an hour waiting for this one stupid role. I mean, there's no reason for me to make this role because I don't want to gear up that character. I want to gear up my DPS character. And it just creates so many problems, and there's like no benefit to it. It doesn't benefit anybody. So nothing has changed in all of this time. A lot of the problem with Champions Online would have been solved if they had a game plan. I mean, there's no way I believe that anyone other than Kaiserman works on this game full time. It seems like after they hired her, the other 4 or 5 people that they made this big deal about working on the game again just kind of disappeared. Probably went back to Star Trek or Neverwinter. They certainly didn't announce it on the Champions Online forums, but, why would they? Because that's pretty terrible news. We just removed all of your devs except for one, who's brand new to the game industry and doesn't really have a whole lot of experience, and we're gonna dump her with like 4 people's jobs in an MMO. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Who makes these decisions anyway?